Welcome everyone to another episode of Today in Trades brought to you by BidClips. I have a really cool guest on with us this morning. His name is Mark from Mainstreet Computers. Mark has been with Mainstreet for a long time, and he's going to be here to talk a lot about what Mainstreet's doing, the trade shows that are coming up this summer, and give us some insight on a couple different items. Personally, I wore my windshield whiz hat today because about say 15, maybe 20 years ago, I won this hat at a trade show. And back then I used to make sure to go over and see Mark at the show. Growing up in the glass business, you couldn't not know who Mainstreet was as a company, and most of us were using them. So they've been around for a long time. So I'm really excited to hear about Mark, about Mainstreet, and hopefully give you guys some insight on what they're working on. So Mark, thank you for being on this morning. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How'd you get in the seat today?
Well, Jim, thanks for having me. I was actually back in the 90s. I was working in the insurance industry. I'd been in the management program. I'd switched back into sales. Kids were in high school, and I knew what that was going to take, like a lot of evenings, which means missing kids' activities. So I had this crazy idea, if something else would come along, I'd probably entertain it. And so my wife had a friend over one day for lunch who worked at this company called Mainstreet Computers. And she was a part-time sales rep for Mainstreet. And just in the course of conversation, she said something to my wife about, well, Mainstreet's looking for another sales rep. Like they say, the rest is history. Both of those people are gone.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long ago has it been? I know that your tenure has been long, but how long have you been there?
So 22 years.
Wow, that's great.
So the Mainstreet started in 1982, and I came on board in 97 or 99 rather. So yeah, I've been there over half the life of the company. So it's been an interesting journey.
Absolutely. So what, many of us have mixed feelings with all technology we use. I really value that Mainstreet has been around for so long because you understand the glass business in a way that a lot of technologies can't. I often tell people, any pains that you have are usually made up by your guys' strength and your nags parts, your auto glass side of the spectrum, et cetera. I sometimes have to remember that you guys have been around for a long time. You've done this, you know this business. With that being said, I know that you're also working on a bunch of new products, moving things forward. And most of this podcast this morning, we're going to talk about just how to maybe break down some misconceptions that people have around technology, to find out what you guys are doing to continue to grow in a world that is growing very quickly. And oftentimes our industry isn't growing with it. So I want to break down a few of those things. So many of your shops have used you for years. What are you and Mainstreet working on to ensure that they're going to be around for many more? What are some of the things you guys have in the pipeline?
Well, we're basically rebuilding the whole platform. We've started rolling out. It's not completely done yet, but we're doing a whole new platform that's browser based. Just as I look back, I was thinking quickly, back when I started back in 99, if we remember, we were headed into Y2K and nobody wanted to have their software on the internet. There was no way anybody back in those days wanted to do that. And today we can't do enough on the internet.
Right.
It's just, it's done a 180. And so we've come up now with a new browser-based product, which does several things for us. It gets rid of some older technology that's created issues for us. Plus devices are changing. It used to be you had to be on a PC. Now people want to use the Mac. They want to use a tablet. And the best means and medium for doing that is the internet. So to be able to go to a browser and log in and launch the program and do it from anywhere, it's a whole different dynamic than again it was 22 years ago. So we are developing a browser base. We no longer sell desktop. That's how it's changed. I mean, started out, that's all we had. Now we don't even sell it. We do support some existing customers that are on desktop. It's pretty small percentage of our business, but that in time will go away. Back when I started with Mainstreet, basically, if we were going to do a product, some system, we had to build it. Today with APIs, again, that technology is changing all the time, and it makes it easier for us to integrate with other products. It doesn't make sense anymore for us to do everything. So there are other products that are out there on the marketplace that we're looking at integrating with. So you can use us for your Mainstreet point of sale. We've done it, for example, with QuickBooks. We've interfaced to QuickBooks Online. So we give you two options. You can use our own fully integrated system, or we have an integration to QBO, tying into APIs. So we see more of that kind of thing coming in the future as we launch this new program. Plus, we're looking at partnering up with companies like BidClips. Instead of developing what you guys do, which would have been the old way of doing it, let's do a partnership. So you guys develop that side of it. You become the expert on that whole quoting and landing that lead and getting it. Other companies that we're interfacing with, they become the expert, and then we sort of become the middle ground for our mutual customers, that everything meets at Mainstreet, so to speak.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because I love what you just said, how it meets at Mainstreet, right? It comes together like a small town in a way. And I hear all the time from users, isn't there just one technology that will do it all? And I think that in our industry, we work with our hands. We put in windshield. We're not tech people, and we both know that. We every day I support people on how to turn their computer on, how to copy and paste little things, right? That's okay. So let's talk to our users that are just frustrated, that want to have one technology fits it all. In a world where now we are using different technologies together, what do you say to that? How do you encourage a user to build on what they have at their local store?
You don't want, honestly, you don't want a one technology that fits it all, because of the fact we're not the experts that you've become at your side, nor are you the expert at what we've done.
Or QuickBooks, for that matter.
Or QuickBooks. They're just the accounting world out there. That's a good example. So you have an accountant, and the accountant says, I'd love to service you, but this is what I use. We have our own accounting system. We have accountants that use it, but not everybody's going to buy into it. Well, I'll switch and I'll use that for you. So what happens is it's the best of both worlds. So your accountant can do QuickBooks, and Mainstreet will feed to them. And same thing with just any other systems that we're looking at. And there's others I don't want to say yet, because I found something out over the years. As soon as I tell you what we're looking at,
that's expected to be done.
Yeah, I know. When's it going to be done? And technology is never fast. I had a programmer say to me one day, "What's a simple idea to use 100,000 keystrokes to me?" And I have never forgotten that. And I've watched programmers. I cannot do in any way, shape, or form what a developer does. I don't have the mindset. I don't have the personality. But I'm amazed at what they come up with. And now when we can take your company and QuickBooks and other companies, and we can all integrate together, it takes the guy that wants one system, and we become the middle ground. It's kind of like we're the holding facility that everybody can come together, and now we can use that platform to better run our business. I think we're up to about 9 different programs that we do now, as opposed to 3 back in the day.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's partly our perception as an industry. And I don't know the data, and all of us guess, and I certainly know you won't tell us, but you guys have you have to have a large percentage of the glass shop users out there.
We do.
And, as they come to me and they say, well, there's got to be, just a one-stop shop. And I said, I think really it's about listen to your children, listen to the youth. You can use multiple technologies in harmony. You can make a stack. And that's what we've tried to do at BidClips. Our link to Mainstreet is the ability to, close jobs and then push them right in, make it easy, work together the best we can with where we're at. And by doing that, each technology, each platform can get better. And so to tie a bow on that, if you're wanting a better system at your store, come see us at trade shows, come see Mark at trade shows, go see QuickBooks, and find the best way to put together a process, your business process, your flow, and just take friction out of it. And I know that's intimidating, but there's many of us that will help. Back to your Main Street analogy, in the olden Norman Rockwell paintings, right? You can head
Yeah,
down to Main Street and get the answer.
yeah,
Someone's got it
that's
figured
right.
out. And I like that a lot. And so, we'll get away from the kind of software ins and outs. If you want to know more about Main Street, or Bid Clips or even QuickBooks or any of these softwares, visit them at trade shows, talk to Mark, talk to your account executives. There's oftentimes many things happening that we don't even know are happening because
Exactly.
we're out in the field, we're putting glass in, we're trying to find help. So make that time. And I know you guys are coming up. You're going to be at the Texpo, Glass Build. They're going to be at the Neighborly Reunion. They're going to be at Auto Glass Week. So any one of those, go see Main Street, and make sure to introduce yourself to Mark if you're not already using it. Now let's break into some of the other stuff that I'm more interested in. You've seen a lot of shops. You've worked with a lot of different people. You have a lot of clients. In your opinion, Mark, what are the attributes of a great shop, as from a technology standpoint? What are some of the winning shops doing? You service auto and you service residential. Tell me what those shops look like. What are some of the key qualities?
I'd like to say they're all multifaceted in terms of products, but there are some good shops that do flat only. There are
Mhm.
good shops that do auto only. When I started back in the industry, if you did both, you were 75% auto, 25% flat. Today, I would say that's flipped the other way. It's 75% flat, 25% auto. But one of the key factors that I've noticed over the years, it's the owner who runs the business, and he hires good people around him to work the business.
Mhm.
So many guys, gals, get in there, they start a company, and it starts to grow, and they kind of lose that. I think what happens, I think they've maybe come out of they were a tech at one time, and let's be honest, it's hard sometimes to let go.
Oh, for sure.
It's tough to let go. I have that in my job of letting go and having other people, just take care of stuff. But it's when you step back, let go, let somebody else run with it, and then you just manage the overall business. I think it's probably more critical than ever
Mhm.
that for the glass guy, any business owner, really, you got to trust your people. And that's really what it comes down to. You got to have to trust us with your information when it comes to software. Get a good team around you and trust those people. Let them do it. Let them go. Let them make a mistake. That's not easy for me to say or to do. It's easy for me to say. They're going to
Right,
make some
right.
mistakes, but they're going to, they're going to learn from those mistakes. And if they don't learn, I think most people who don't learn are going to end up moving on themselves.
What are some of these shops, these elite shops that do run a good team? Where do they go to learn? How do they develop that skill?
I tell you what, a lot of it's trade shows. We've done something here the last few years with a couple of our newer employees that we've hired, where we've actually sent them to auto glass installation training classes. We don't do glass, but to help them learn it, we've sent them to a class. I never did that myself, and it's been joked about how I'm not. Well, Mark's never done it, but you know how many, think about Auto Glass Week. Do you know how many times I've stood at the rail and watched these techs remove glass and put in a new windshield?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, I realize it's a competition, but I think I learn something every time I go.
Well, that's important because when I was younger, we used to go to the shows, and that is where you learn. And so I do think this is important for listeners to be active. It's a small investment. It's a plane ticket. It's a hotel. It's 1 or 2 days to go to a show to then roll up your sleeves. I also think, right, the vulnerability, being able to say, I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
know what I don't know. And that's with technology too. There's no stupid question you can ask Mark. I used to call you all the time. I'd call Mainstreet. It's okay to say, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Can you help me achieve it? And they'll tell you no if you can't. And they'll tell you, yes, here are the resources. So a really good point. Looking back now on your 20 plus years, if you can give 3 pieces of advice to your users about Mainstreet, what would it be?
Man, that's a good question. One of the strengths of Mainstreet is our team. This, I think, sets us apart from the rest of my competition. Our average tenure is like 18 years for an employee.
Mm.
In a technology company like ours, a software company, the average, I think, is something like 18 months. And we're
Right.
talking 18 years.
Mm.
So it's not that our people know it all. They know a
Mm.
lot and they know it well. they've been doing it. This isn't our first rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a little mundane answering the same questions, but our team's been around. Obviously, I think it speaks to something about Mainstreet to have a group of about, I don't know, whether 17, 18, 20 of us, whatever it is, and average tenures, 18 years. Ask your questions and give us the benefit of the doubt because
Mm-hmm.
we have been here. I don't know. I can't do the windshield install like you can. I can't put in the shower tub surround like you can, but I've been around and I've heard a lot of things, and you know, our team has worked with a lot of different customers, so we benefited from that.
And as you said earlier, if you can't do it, you guys will help find somebody that can. And I've always appreciated that about you. And we see that often with, on the big clip side of things, people, you mention it over to, and all of a sudden you're helping each other out. And so I do encourage all you to reach out to Mark and to the team if you have questions. Don't just listen to rumors or things. Just go dive in, give it a try, do a demo, look at where they are. And Mark, I've always appreciated your guys' willingness to just tell us, hey, we're working on it, even if it does take a while. So that's really all you can ask. Moving on to this, we can't not talk about 2020. What was your takeaway from last year as we look into 2021?
Man, it was a bizarre year. We started out, the whole COVID thing in March, customers calling up, a lot of knee jerk, actually. People just wanting to cut so they can cut their bill, and understandable, the unexpected. But it's riding out the storm and then finding new ways to do business. I'm sitting in my basement. I work from home now.
Do you ever think that was going to be the case?
I never. In fact, initially I didn't like it. I was home. I
Mm-hmm.
was using a room upstairs. It was actually my wife's sewing room. I hated it. I went back for the office for a while, and again the whole thing. And finally, I moved home and I set up a room downstairs. It's my office. It's my domain,
Good.
and I will always now have my own office elsewhere. But I've seen that in glass shops across the country. I've seen guys develop new ways. We've got to deal with COVID, and everybody has their own views. So I think it's created a flexibility in us.
Well, I like what you said about waiting, also waiting out the storm. A few of our clients doubled down during COVID, doubled down to be ready because they didn't want to lose their team, and they ended up with some of the best year they've probably ever had. And I'm not saying you always double down when storms get tough, but to look long term. And my father, who's done this for a long time, had said, this too shall pass. That we'll make it through this, and that's always been the theme for the older shops. And so that's really good advice. And I love the flexibility. I never thought I'd see Mark Haeck in his basement working, but you're rolling with the punches. I'm at home as well. So you learn to work where you need to work. And now for these shops that maybe don't know how to do that, we have a podcast episode on managing or on remote teams, traveling nine countries in 9 years, I think it's called. And then we did a webinar on how to manage a remote team. If you have ISRs at home, how do you manage those employees? So there are educational tools. So reach out and grab those, and reach out to Mark if you want to know how to make your Mainstreet a little more mobile with this new platform, etc. There will be opportunities to keep growing in that direction if you choose not to come back to the shop. The trade shows coming up this summer. I had mentioned them earlier: Texpo, Auto Glass Week, Reunion, Glass Build. I know that Mainstreet is teaming up with Bid Clips, and as well as each have our own booth, but teaming up in the sense where if you visit both booths, you can win some prizes, a drawing. I know at Texpo, they're giving away a Bosch laser level, and then I think we're going to do something from Equalizer at Auto Glass Week. Yeah, so there's even more reason than ever to come talk to Mark about the new future of Mainstreet, what they're working on, where it's at in its life cycle, and so yet another reason to come by. You can walk home with an applicable tool. We didn't want to give you guys just ball caps or pins. We want to give you things you can use at your shop. So I just wanted to thank Mark and Mainstreet. That's an awesome gift. Those are not cheap, and so appreciate that.
I look at those drawing things. Somebody's going to win it. Somebody's going to win it. To throw up your hand, say, I'm not going to. Somebody's going to win it. So come on by. Plus the fact I think both of us have some good things to offer for the glass guys. And going back to your comment about COVID, just this partnership that we've developed. Basically, it developed through COVID.
Right.
I think we were talking about it just ahead of it a few months, but through COVID, we've started getting this thing launched and getting it going, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, customers demand a different experience that took a hard turn, and with BidClips and with Mainstreet's working together now, customers can encounter their estimates. They can encounter service how they need to be encountered. And for those that want us in their home, and those that want an estimate on paper, they can have it. For those that want it more interactive, like Amazon, you can have it. There's nothing that we can't give right now to our clients and our customers. And so, yeah, I know you were going to visit us anyways, likely, but this is even more reason to stop by and to say hello.
Absolutely.
Mark, I know you've got a busy year ahead of you. What do you tell younger people that might be listening to this call? We try to get this podcast out to the sons, the daughters, the people who have left middle management, are opening their own shops and trying to make their way in this business. As you're on the back part of your career and you got new people coming in, give us a little bit of advice on the best way to be successful.
Go for it. One of my favorite my favorite TV, not one of my favorite TV show is This Old House. Saturday mornings at 9:00. Odds are I'm going to be watching This Old House. That's when it comes on here locally. And they've done something there in the building trades of bringing in younger people, mentoring. And I'm saying to younger people, get in there. I got to be honest, my generation, we're stuck in a mud. We're stuck in a rut. We're stuck, we're afraid to take the lead. We're, getting out there and all this technology and stuff. And there's just a great opportunity right now for younger people. Listen to the older people. We're not stupid. It's just, we're not necessarily, and I realize I sell technology, we're not necessarily as adept at it as you are. But there's a great opportunity for younger people to take some old traditional businesses and modernize them.
Yes, there is. And you don't have to come in and throw the baby out with the bathwater. Nope. You can come right in, you can analyze, you can call. A lot of times you don't know that features exist in the tools that the predecessor of the company used or your own. So, I do encourage, I agree with Mark, go in feet first. Find ways to take the friction out of your business. Don't try to automate so much that you miss the relationship with customers, but use the tools to make your job easy. It doesn't have to suck to be in glass. It can be really fun. And I appreciate you today, Mark. That was great advice for the youth, great advice on shops that are excelling, organization, building a culture, continuing to grow. We hope to see you all at one or all of the trade shows. Please come see us, mention this podcast, put your name in the drawing, and hopefully you can walk away with some nice tools that you don't have to pay for this year. And
absolutely.
Couldn't thank you enough, Mark. I look forward to a great future for Mainstreet as well as all of our listeners. And so have a great day. Keep your head up. And as Mark said, go for it. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.